Chapter 3 Gallery Raid. 3-1 The Raid. It is evening in Monmouth, and Elliot Reynolds is visiting the Gallery Art of Monmouth. As the hustle and bustle of the city slowly dies down, he was there to talk with the gallery's owner, Mark Hunter. Mark greeted Elliot in his office in the back of the gallery. "Elliot, thanks for coming," Mark said, offering him a cup of coffee. "I'm worried about Alex." "Thanks, Mark. I came to see if you had any new information." "About his disappearance," Elliot replied. At that moment, the sound of breaking glass echoed from the gallery's main hall. The two men looked at each other and rushed to the hall. There, several black-clad figures were working on Alex's work. They were destroying the work, and were looking for something. "Stop!" Elliot shouted and called the police on his cell phone. But the criminals fled in a flash. All that was left was a destroyed canvas. And the cutout remains of Alex's last piece of artwork. What the hell is going on? They were looking for Alex's work. "Maybe he's hiding something," Elliot replied. 3-2 Tracking down the killers. The police arrived and began to investigate the scene, but found few clues about the perpetrators. Elliot decided to track the direction in which the perpetrators had fled. As he ran out of the gallery and through the alleyway, he found the trail where the perpetrators had fled in their car. "In this direction," Elliot told himself. As he followed the tire tracks of the car, he turned down a series of alleys, eventually ending up in a warehouse district on the outskirts of the city. Spotting a faint light leaking into one of the warehouses, he approached cautiously. Looking inside, he saw that the criminals were analyzing some of Alex's artwork, looking for something. Elliot took pictures with his phone, gathered evidence, and then called the police. 3-3 Daniel Crawford's revelation. The next day, Elliot met again with the gallery's owner, Mark Hunter. As the gallery was being restored, Elliot reported to Mark about the events of the previous night. He said, "It seems the killers were looking for something in Alex's work. His last work of art may hold secrets that we don't yet know," Elliot said. At that moment, art critic Daniel Crawford suddenly appeared in the gallery. Daniel had an old letter in his hand. "Elliot, take a look at this. It's the letter Alex sent me before he disappeared," Daniel said. Elliot took the letter and began to read it. The letter contained details about the last work Alex had painted, suggesting that it was involved in an important conspiracy. "He was asking for help with this letter," Daniel said. "But by the time I realized, it was too late," Daniel said regretfully. Elliot wrote down the contents of the letter, and decided to use it in his future investigations. He decided to get more deeply involved in the case in order to uncover the truth behind Alex's last work. Chapter 4 The Secret Underground Studio. 4-1 Deciphering the Letter. Elliot Reynolds returned to his apartment and reread the letter that Alex Saunders had sent to Daniel Crawford. In the letter, Alex had written an important clue about his last work. "His last works contain secrets that we do not know. We must look more carefully at his words," Elliot told himself. The letter suggested that Alex was continuing his work in a secret location. In addition, there was a mysterious sequence of figures and numbers written in the corner of the letter. Elliot tried various methods to decipher this cipher. He looked up the pattern of the cipher on the internet and tried to remember the deciphering method Alex had used in the past. After several hours, Elliot noticed that the numbers and figures in the corner of the letter pointed to a specific location in Monmouth. It was an old basement not far from Alex's studio. 4-2 Discovery of the basement studio. The next day, Elliot went to the location mentioned in Alex's letter. It was the basement of an old building in a corner of Old Town. The building had once been used as a warehouse, but was now mostly unused. Elliot used his key to open the basement door and entered. The dimly lit space was lined with tools and canvases that Alex had used. On the walls were his unfinished sketches and notes, giving a glimpse of his creative process. Elliot walked around the room, muttering to himself, "So this is his secret studio." He found Alex's work diary and began to read its contents. The diary detailed the message Alex had put into his last piece of work and the crisis he was facing. 4-3 Unpublished work and message. As Elliot read through the diary, he realized that Alex's last work was not just a painting, but contained an important message. The message was related to a conspiracy. he was pursuing, and exposing it could save many lives. In the back of his underground studio, a large canvas covered with cloth was propped up. Elliot carefully removed the cloth and saw Alex's last work of art. It appeared to be a beautiful landscape painting, but upon closer inspection, there were hidden symbols and codes woven ingeniously into it. Elliot took a closer look at the work and began to decipher Alex's intentions. The artwork concealed the names of certain places and people in Monmouth, indicating that they were connected to a series of conspiracies. "This is what Alex meant," Elliot murmured, his attention drawn to a symbol in the corner of the work. It was the same symbol he had first found in his studio. Elliot hurriedly took pictures of the diary and the artwork and went to Cecilia Carter with all the information. He needed to tell her about Alex's underground studio and the secrets hidden there. 4 to 4 The full story of a dangerous conspiracy. Elliot arrived at Cecilia's office and shared with her all the information he had found in Alex's underground studio. Cecilia was surprised and at the same time realized the seriousness of the crisis Alex was facing. "What the hell did he find?" Cecilia said, unable to hide her surprise and excitement. "Alex's last piece of work contains clues about a serious conspiracy going on in the city of Monmouth. He was trying to uncover that conspiracy," Elliot replied. Cecilia thought deeply and renewed her determination. "If we don't act soon, his efforts will have been in vain." Elliot and Cecilia began to formulate a plan to decipher the messages hidden in Alex's work and expose the truth. They vowed to work together, knowing the risks involved, to uncover the full extent of this conspiracy. Chapter 5 The Road to Truth. 5 to 1 Sorting through the clues. Elliot Reynolds and Cecilia Carter returned to Cecilia's office to organize the materials they found in Alex's basement studio. Elliot unfolds Alex's last piece of artwork and his diary, and checks the clues one by one. "The symbols here match the points on this map," Elliot said, pointing. "And these names are probably the people involved in the conspiracy." Cecilia took a note and said, "We need to use this to find the people involved." "But how?" Elliot thought deeply. "First, let's look at the places depicted in Alex's work. There must be some important clues there." 5 to 2 Investigate the locations on the map. Elliot and Cecilia began to go around Monmouth to investigate the points on the map depicted in Alex's work. Their first point was the old church in Old Town. In the basement of the church, old documents and records are stored. While Elliot was examining old documents in the basement, he found an old diary in one volume. The diary contained details of a major incident that had occurred in the past, and indicated that the incident was related to a current conspiracy. "Here it is, the proof Alex was looking for," Elliot said excitedly. "We should be able to use this diary to get to the bottom of this." 5 to 3 A dangerous showdown. Elliot and Cecilia were about to investigate the next point, when they were suddenly attacked from behind. Black-clad figures appeared and surrounded them. One of them said coldly, "This is as far as you go, detective." Elliot reacted instantly and launched a counterattack with Cecilia. Working together, they managed to evade the attackers. "They are trying to hide something. More and more I realize how serious this conspiracy is," Elliot said under his breath. 5 to 4 The arrival of an important collaborator. Elliot and Cecilia moved to a safe place to rethink their plan. At that moment, art critic Daniel Crawford appeared. He had been doing further research after the release of Alex's letter. "Elliot, Cecilia, let me help you," Daniel said. "I will do everything in my power to save Alex." Elliot accepted Daniel's offer, and the three of them worked together to formulate a plan to uncover the full extent of the conspiracy. 5 to 5 Revealing the truth. Elliot, Cecilia, and Daniel headed to the basement of Monmouth City Hall, the last location depicted in Alex's work. There, they found important records relating to past city government kept there. The three men went through a vast amount of documents in the basement, and finally found the smoking gun. It was evidence of corruption and crimes involving high-ranking officials of the city of Monmouth. "This is all the proof we need," Alex said. "Alex risked his life for this," Elliot said. Cecilia compiled the documents and said, "Let's make this public. For Alex's sake and for the sake of justice," she decided. Chapter 6 A New Beginning. 6-1 public opening at the Museum of Fine Arts. A few days later, a special exhibit was held at a large art museum in Monmouth City. Elliot Reynolds, Cecilia Carter, and Daniel Crawford were ready to unveil the last work of Alex Sanders and the evidence he risked his life to collect. "Today is a special day," said Crawford. "The truth about Alex will be revealed," Elliot said quietly. The exhibition room was filled with a mixture of anticipation and nervousness. As many citizens and media representatives gathered, Cecilia stood in front of the artwork and gave a speech expressing Alex's thoughts. She said, "This artwork is the most important message Alex left us. Through his art, he pursued truth and sought justice. And his work hides a truth we should not miss." At that moment, the symbols and codes hidden in the works on display were shown to the audience with Daniel's commentary. The audience fell silent and tension rose as the story behind the artwork was revealed. 6-2 truth revealed. Daniel held up a document in his hand and said, "What you see here is evidence of corruption and crime involving high-ranking officials in the city of Monmouth. Alex risked his life to expose this fact and inform the citizens." Media representatives all flashed their cameras and reporters posed questions. Elliot calmly answered, emphasizing Alex's sense of justice and courage. Alex was not just a painter. He was a brave soul who fought for the truth and to expose the darkness in society. "We must carry on his will and stand up for justice."
Tudo julgado por uma comissão formada. Tudo julgado por uma
and their applause rang out. It was the moment when the efforts of Elliot and his team bore fruit, and Alex's legacy took shape. 6-3 a new determination. After the exhibition, Elliot, Cecilia, and Daniel reunited outside the museum. The setting sun beautifully illuminated the streets of Monmouth City. Alex's justice has now been served. "His work and his truth will forever be etched in our hearts," Elliot said. Cecilia smiled and said, "He would have been proud of what we have accomplished together. We will never forget his intentions in the future," he replied. Daniel agreed and added, "Our work is not over. There are still many truths hidden. Let us continue to fight together." 6-4 on to the next adventure. Elliot was walking alone through the streets of Monmouth, reflecting on the events of the past. In pursuing the case of Alex's disappearance, he had faced many dangers and difficulties and had been able to uncover the truth. He said, "I will continue to pursue the truth. That is my mission," Elliot promised himself. And so he began to prepare for his next adventure. There are still many mysteries and secrets hidden in the city of Monmouth. Elliot was determined to rise again to uncover them all.